Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to share with you if you have concerns of with your company on whether they're getting ready to lay off or not. I'm going to share with you a secret website that you can go to that will allow you to at least get an idea if they're on this list and if they've given notice. Let's get into it. All right, let's get into it. So, how to know if your company is laying off in advance? So, you're going to go to the Google search. As well, I'm using Bing. I'm using Microsoft Edge here, but we're just going to click Warren Act. But before we get there, it's important to know what it is. And if you hadn't heard about it, you need to learn about it. So, what is the work? So, it's the Worker Adjustment and Retraining Notification Act. Let's go to the Worker Adjustment and Retraining Notification Act is a U.S. labor law that requires most employers with 100 or more employees to provide 60 days advance notice of planned closing and mass layoffs. It aims to protect employees, their families, and communities by giving them time to prepare for the prospective loss of employment. And so imagine, excuse me, being in tech, a layoff is coming up and you get a 60-day notice in advance, you're able to pay attention. But then also thinking about what if you had a heads up already and maybe you started looking for new roles, if you know that your role was in jeopardy because maybe the work slowed down, projects started being moved away from you, you slowly stopped being invited to certain meetings, operational meetings, strategy meetings, forecast meetings, anything of that nature, then this could allow you to do a check here and you can make preparations because then if a layoff happens, then not only will you have that 60-day head start, but then if you end up getting the severance package, by the time you get the severance package, you could have potentially already have some things in motion. That way you're not starting complete from scratch and getting caught off guard. Of course, I know not all the time you will find out that way, but I'm just sharing this tip with you that you can look into. And let's actually dig in here a little bit. And let's go to the U.S. Department of Labor. I mean, this is a phenomenal thing that is required by employers. So people that's working, hard workers, that way you can get a heads up on it. You can go to the site here. This is Department of Labor, and you can dive in and do a deeper look into it. But I just wanted to share this with you real quick. Pro tip from Ken. We're about the Warren Act. So add that Department of Labor to your search, to your bookmarks, and let's see here. I'm gonna click something real quick. Yeah, yeah, and so you can get that Warren. So let me do a search real quick, just while we're here. Warren recent. You don't have to be perfect about this. Just Warren list for 2024. Let's go for 20. I just want you to see what it looks like. All right. All right, there we go. So we can go to like a Warren tracker. So, and this is live. 6.7 million employees laid off from Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, and 33,701 other companies from 1988 to 2024. So you can get in here and you can start looking and I'm just trying to company layoff history. So Lamb Weston, I don't want to just like be calling out these companies, but I don't really know them. But you but you get my point. So save this, do your research, and also when you're looking at prospective roles with other companies, if you see them doing a mass layoff, it doesn't necessarily mean don't apply to those companies, but you need to understand what were the type of roles they were laying off. Was it some roles that, from their perspective, redundant, so they can boost profits or become more efficient or whatever, what have you? But for your purposes, like if you know they just laid off, the background and skill set that you have, maybe it might be some context to that, but maybe you might want to stay away from that company unless they have some one-off openings. But likely, if they just laid off a certain background, if this wasn't like a firing but a layoff, which layoff, I mean, you get laid off, you kind of, it's a little wordplay there, but at least you need to get some context. You need to understand if it's the same role, and then the likelihood of them posting your role is kind of low. But in the event that they do, you still want to have some context around it. Because I mean, sometimes there is context. When the company maybe um, has some was had a project spent up, and maybe they're winding down the project, and they're looking to cut costs, but they still have a need for your particular background, just not in that particular area. So usually, if that's the case, though, usually companies will usually try to work with the internals to find other opportunities, unless they're just looking to kind of low balance and get rid of low performers and things of that nature. But you never know with these things, so we always got to keep our head on the swivel, operate with phenomenal, great expectations, high expectations, confidence in ourselves, because ultimately we have to depend on ourselves. But you still need to be well researched or best as you can, have a coach, be insightful, do research like this. So I want you to bookmark right now the warrentracker.com, public records. And then if you want to do a deeper dive on the details, which I went over, you can go here to the Department of Labor. And if you are really lazy, you could just type it in, and then usually it'll pop up. AI will kind of give you a little quick little. It didn't do it this time, but it'll usually give you a quick little highlight of what it is. Wasn't meant for this to be long. Just want to drop this gem on you. Into the next video. Oh yeah, by the way, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.